your kids ready for kindergarten? The first day is coming up soon, and Dr. Cantor is here to kick off a 4-part back-to-school series.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
For the month of August. And thanks for being with us.
Hey, of course. Hey, Anita, where are you? Hey, Anita, come up and see me in the green room. We'll talk about the mom's reaction to kids going to kindergarten.
You see that? Free advice on the couch.
No, we'll talk about it.
In her spare time?
In her spare time, between stores. Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about kindergarten readiness.
Yes, and it's really important that kindergarten readiness is not everybody based on just the age of your child. We have to look at mental age and chronological age, and school systems, public school systems, base things a lot on age. You know, if
well, it's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent, you think, okay, if your child's birthday is, say, around
Right.
Christmas time,
Yep.
or if it's at the end of the year in May, then you really do have to look at the emotional readiness.
Exactly, and you see, you've got this difference between how old a child is in terms of their chronological age versus how old they are in their mental age. And mental age is something we're going to talk about today. And what's the most important thing, even more than chronological age, is mentally whether or not they can manage the tasks of kindergarten. And so we're going to talk about that. And general rule of thumb is if they can manage what we're going to talk about today, then you push them along. It's really important.
There's 6 developmental areas.
Yes,
so
that I'm going to cover. So
we'll start with self-control and emotional regulation.
Right. Now, this is something that we talk about. Self-control, emotional regulation is something that we really work on with kids in the first 2 to 3 to 4 years of their life. So this is really soothing them, helping them manage their emotions better. So they internalize you as a parent and feel better about themselves. They then take that with them into preschool, and then hopefully that gets better and better, and then they work that into kindergarten. So it's not perfect by the time they get to kindergarten, but they've got some basic coping skills of calming themselves down and being able to pull themselves back together. It's not a finished product, but it's on its way.
Now, what about a kid? Parents often worry about having their child go for the entire day.
Right. And we always say you should do a stepwise. So hopefully what you're doing before you go into a kindergarten setting, you're doing pre-K and preschool, where you're doing a gradual 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, so you're working them towards that. We see problems when you've got parents who either don't have their kids in preschool and then put them into like a 5-day program. That's too far. It's too much for a child to handle. So you've got to be really careful and sensible about starting really with low and move to the 5-day. And again, usually kindergartens end a little bit earlier, so they're not full days, and most school districts do a shorter period of time before going into the full 8 or 9 to 3. So it's stepwise.
So let's talk about a child's social abilities.
Right.
You know, being able to share and take turns. My 3-and-a-half-year-old, I work with this on him, and I say, okay, you have to share and take turns because that's what they're going to do in school in the fall.
Yeah, and it's something that we've talked about previous pieces. That's something that we always work on, even as adults, about sharing. Sharing is hard, and it's hard with kids. But you're teaching them about the idea of reciprocity, give and take. Be nice to other people, and they'll be nice to you. And you have to guide them through play, like when they're playing with their friends, about taking turns and doing things. The earlier you do that as a parent with them, the better they're going to be prepared for kindergarten. Most preschools and pre-Ks work on that. So you're looking for a child who's able to at least understand that there is another person there. They do a lot of what we call parallel play, but they take turns and work towards doing that, and it just increases over time. So you want that.
Okay, what about knowing right from wrong?
Okay, this is conscience development, and there's different theories about when does a child develop a conscience. In the old days, people said that kids don't develop consciences until they're 6 or 7. This is not true.
Did they care in the old days whether we developed a conscience?
Well, yeah, exactly. Did they care in the old days? Well, we wonder these days with what's
going on. Be quiet.
Yeah, stop. Don't do it. But they do. It's very early. Conscience development starts as early as when they can start to speak, and it gradually builds. Now, do we expect them to know the difference between right and wrong completely by kindergarten? No. But a general sense of this is a rule and that's a rule, and you practice this at home, parents, with them, that this is okay and this is not okay. So when they have a teacher there saying, okay, these are my rules, they're not completely blown away that this is something new for them. Okay. So that's important too.
Now, to round out the list, we're talking about fine and gross motor skills, bouncing a ball, intellectual capacity. Now, just as a parent and hearing all of this, you think, oh my gosh, what if my child doesn't have all those things on the list?
Right.
Then what do you do?
Well,
don't you feel like they kind of learn those things as they go to kindergarten?
Well, they learn a lot of them. These things that we talk about, issues here about separating from parents, being able to separate. Now, we all know this, and this is very important. All kids going to kindergarten, most of them, have separation problems, usually for the first couple of weeks. Parents have horrible separation problems from their children, Anita, their children too.
Anita's going to cry.
Anita's going to cry. And it's okay to cry, but make sure you cry and they don't see them, because they need you to be strong for them. Usually the separation anxiety with most kids wears off after a couple of weeks.
If it doesn't, then you might have to rethink.
Well, the teachers are really good. They usually tell you, hey, drop them off and we'll take it from there. And go to the blog, because our blog on San Diego 6 has more of these in more detail, but it's really important. What you can do, yes, a very important question. You can work on these things with your child at home. And it's very important that you don't let the school just do the education of your child, that you really let
Oh, yeah, you got to prepare them.
You've got to work with them also and let the preschool and pre-K do that too. But the more that you do following the things that we talked about, the better they're going to be starting out school. And as a parent, you'll feel better.
We are out of time, but
Yes.
really quickly, what are we talking about next Monday?
Okay, we're talking about getting ready to go back to school. So how to get your kids back to school, ready to get back to homework, how to set things differently this year. So if you had a tough track last year, you've got a fresh start, parents. And so we're going to talk about how to get your kids right back on track in school, in a good mood, on a schedule, so they kick off the year on the right foot.
So Dr. Cantor's back to school
we're there.
special all month, every
All month.
Monday this
We're gonna
month,
do schools.
well, of August.
And email your
We're
questions in,
almost there.
drcantor@san-diego6.com. So
All right.
email your questions in. We'll see everybody
Okay.
next week.
Information linked to san-diego6.com.
And we'll see everybody next
Okay.
week. Anita, we'll talk.
Thank